I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're delighted to welcome to our show a wonderful author. Her name is Holly Ann Margl, and she's written a powerful book that is called Witnessing Grief, a crucial guide for coaches in helping professionals navigating the sensitive terrain of grief, loss, and trauma, especially relevant in this pandemic era. In her book, the author combines Enneagram personality model with deep insight to aid professionals in their understanding of their biases and effectively support their clients through challenging emotional journeys. We're delighted to have this talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank her team at Great Writers Media for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Holly, good to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much, Logan, for that very generous introduction. It is really my privilege.
Oh, the privilege is all mine. Tell us a little bit about your background that you're writing about witnessing grief.
Background that brought me to writing Witnessing Grief was losing my father and one of my children very close together in 2018 and finding out that people really don't know how to talk about grief. Yeah. When COVID hit, coaches particularly, I'm sure therapists, everybody was asking, how do we talk about this? And there isn't anything out there. So I decided to step up.
Yeah. Grief is something probably some people don't want to talk about because, you know, when you think about the word grief, it's such a heavy word. If you've ever grieved, you know the pain that emanates through you. But it's so important to have a discussion about it and help people cope with these pains and these losses. Tell us a little bit about what your best advice is to coaches and counselors in helping people through very, very difficult times.
Best quick advice is learn about yourself and know your triggers and how you are getting in the way of that collaborative therapeutic relationship.
And when you say getting in the way, tell us about that.
Let's say we hear about a topic like my father died from a heart attack, and I happen to have the same experience. I might show up with my own reaction rather than being present with the person and their experience. So I'm getting my own experiences, my own biases in the way of that conversation. Anytime a therapeutic relationship is happening, what I'm going to call the witness needs to be aware of their own biases so that they are with the human being in front of them or that they're speaking with, and not the story they're hearing from the other person or in their own memories.
Yeah. Everybody's reaction is different. Everybody's feelings are different. If you're trying to tell me about your father who died, me telling you about my father who died or having those feelings may or may not be helpful.
Exactly.
But I think there is probably something universal about the feeling of grief, that feeling where, you know, you just feel like you never inhale properly. You know what I mean? That, you know, you carry that with you. It's very, very tough. And, you know, I've lost both my parents again. And somebody said to me at that point, no matter how sick your parents are, when you lose them, it's like they get hit by a truck, no matter what kind of, you know, foreshadowing there was. Tell me a little bit about the Enneagram model in your approach. I thought that was very, very interesting in your book.
Thank you for asking.
Sure.
The Enneagram is a comprehensive and dynamic mirror of our non-random personality, emotional patterns, and habits. The Enneagram, kind of like Toto did in Oz, reveals the person beneath what the image we're projecting outward. Because it's very predictable, we can learn a lot about ourselves using the Enneagram personality system. And I really want to highlight here that its purpose is for each of us to learn about ourselves and how we are showing up in this lifetime. It's not about, Logan, I'm looking at you and you're an XYZ. That's not its purpose. It's out there a lot in business and whatnot to create strong teams, and it works. its purpose is for our own journey, though, not for telling someone else what they need to do. So even in a therapeutic relationship, it's not about me figuring out what somebody else's personality is. It's so I know how I'm showing up.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And what type of insights will people gain from using this Enneagram model? What will they learn about themselves, do you think?
Anything you want to learn. If you think about any relationship you're in, there's probably common complaints that other people have said to you during a lifetime. The Enneagram can reveal what that's about, because it is a pattern and it is predictable, and it can reveal that. So it impacts relationships, whether therapeutic or personal or work relationships. When we can go, oh, there I go again. Oh, that's that pattern showing up again. And we want to do something different. It opens what I would say windows and doors to other options. It's not about saying, oh, I'm a 0.3 or I'm a 0.7. It's about saying, these are my patterns that align with this personality, and I have other choices. How do I open the windows and doors and learn about other choices?
Very, very interesting. Do you work now as a counselor, a therapist, or, just somebody who works with people who are experiencing grief?
I am a coach, master certified coach. Sometimes the question's asked, what's the difference between coaching and therapy? The very quick answer to that is coaches don't do any diagnosing. We're not tied to insurance. And coaches are very focused on the present and the future, whereas therapy might dig into the past, childhood, that kind of thing. Now, that's not to say that the past is not important. Of course it is. That's just not the coaching realm. However, at this level of coaching that I feel very fortunate to have had the opportunity to reach, the questions can sound very similar to what you might hear from a therapist. Very key is that the coaches are not experts of the clients they're speaking with. Clients are the experts of themselves. And there's a huge respect for, I'm not going to tell someone their feelings or their thoughts, even if they're stuck and they can't identify them. It's a partnership. It's not a hierarchy.
And basically, are you giving them exercises and things like that to do to work through their grief, work through their pain, work through their challenge?
Great question. Thank you. The quick answer is no. If someone finds exercises or goals or experiments they want to do on their own, we can partner to find what makes the most sense. But I would never tell someone, here's what you do to manage your grief.
Right.
In coaching, how I show up, I mean, I've worked the stories I could tell you. So let's say I have a client right now whose daughter was killed in a car accident just before Christmas of 2022. So he's just bypassed the first anniversary. My role, I don't say much. I get to be a witness, and he gets to tell me the story over and over again, how he's feeling, where he is right now. And I'm a place that's safe, and I, without judgment, I understand his experience. It's not my experience, it's his experience. And I am holding that space where other people, my experience as well, run away. I can't imagine what you're going through. Yes, we all can imagine what someone's going through. Some of us have the luxury of jumping out of that experience rather than living it.
Yeah. As a news reporter, I dealt a lot with deaths of children, and there's nothing worse. And as you know from personal experience, unfortunately, and from your clients, what do you say? I come into your office, God forbid a child's been lost. I mean, that heartbreak lasts forever. What's my first step? If I said to you, how do I start feeling better? How do I stop regretting every moment that my child's not with me? How do I get past that pain? What would you say to me?
First, there's no getting past it. I would say we learn, as parents, learn to incorporate it into who we are. Whatever feelings are arising are okay. It's not something that's wrong or bad. I shouldn't feel this. Yeah, you have regrets. Absolutely. It's part of the process. They're not always going to be as heavy as they are at the start, which is really hard to hear and believe. Finding safe spaces to be with other human beings is key. That is key. People that can just sit in it, no matter what's coming up, no matter how irrational they may feel or sound, it's all okay. Truly, Logan, some of the most meaningful moments I had were when, whatever, let's say I'm a song, I don't even listen to music much anymore because music will trigger me. When it comes up, two people in particular I'm thinking of, they saw it happening and they just bowed their head, put their hand on my arm, and just waited until it passed.
Yeah.
Not trying to fix it, not change it, not tell me it's going to be better, just in this moment with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Heartache and heartbreak and grief. I guess there's things you just learn to live with. They don't really go away. And like I often say to people, it's almost like having a trick knee. You feel a little bit better, but you never know when it's going to give out on you again.
That's right.
Like you
Yeah,
said,
exactly.
being triggered by a song or something. We in this era of like people talking about anxiety and depression and grief, particularly surrounding the pandemic, tell us how you think your book can assist professionals in providing better care, better support to their clients.
What comes to mind when you ask that question is learning how we so often show up to conversations with an agenda. I think I know what's best for this person. I have the answers for this person. I know the right thing to say, or with a judgment, like, oh, here we go again with this story or whatever. Recognizing that we're showing up with those agendas and biases and learning to set them aside, to show up to each conversation with a human being. We're not there listening to a story or their experiences. We're here to see the person having the experience or that's telling us the story. It's not about the story. It's about the human being.
Do you think it's important that the patient or client and the coach or therapist kind of have like a good chemistry? Like this is a person you like, that this is a person that you feel comfortable with, that this is a person that seems empathetic. Tell us a little bit about the importance of finding a coach or a therapist or a counselor or a psychiatrist or a psychologist or any myriad of professionals that would be a good fit for somebody who needs someone to talk to.
Yeah, what a great question. And the reason I say that is so often people think that they just have to stick with whoever they meet. And that's not the case. There is chemistry. And it's so, especially coaching. I think all of the therapeutic conversations going on in the world, and this is with the doctor patient, that chemistry, that trust is so important for a person's emotional well-being. If I don't trust or feel a cohesion with the professional I'm speaking to, my self-development is going to falter. We're not going to open up and be vulnerable to someone we don't trust, period. And we can't change, we can't develop, we can't grow unless we are in a safe space with human beings that we know are on our side, so to speak, without judgment. So 100%, it's okay to say, this isn't the right fit. I'm going to meet some more people. We don't have to feel we have to complete a therapeutic relationship if there's no connection. It's okay. And the therapist, coach, counselor, whatever, should be supportive in saying, yes, please go interview more people.
Yeah, I think that's a great bit of advice because, I often say, and you may or may not agree with this, that talking to a therapist or a counselor or a coach is basically talking to someone you hope is as intelligent as you or more intelligent than you, who can give you insight into the situation. So if you don't feel that way, then maybe you need to find somebody else.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, did you become a coach out of the tragedies you experienced, or were you already a coach? And were any of the counselors, therapists, and so forth who counseled you during your hard times, were they effective? Or is that why you got into the field? Because you felt like there was a lack of professionals out there who need to be doing their job properly?
That's a loaded question. Okay. My background is chemical dependency counseling, long time ago. I jumped, which is behavior change. That's what alcohol and drug counseling is about. When coaching was introduced, I was introduced to it actually within weeks of meeting the Enneagram. They both fell in my lap. Coaching is about behavior change. So I loved it. The Coaching Psychology Manual was the first book I ever read, and I loved it. So I jumped into coaching from there and continued learning about the Enneagram and coaching simultaneously, getting to this master certified coach level. This topic of grief came up. And to answer your question, I have had some horrible experiences with therapists.
Yeah.
Horrible over the years. I have seen many over my lifetime. And so, yes, I wrote it. I don't want to say that this is specifically for therapy. There can be some tension between coaches and therapists, like which is better. And they're both very valuable. It comes down to the human being, the training, and to your point, are they walking the talk? Are they doing their own inner work always? Are they working on themselves so that they can show up without bias, without an agenda, with the human being in front of them? I love coaching because I love the present and forward-looking approach to coaching. And I love saying, I'm not the expert of you, you are. And I'm here to partner with you to help you move toward where you want to go, and leaving the past to the therapist to look into.
Wonderful. Well, your clients are very lucky to have you as their coach because you seem like a very insightful and empathetic person, which are two crucial qualities to have. Holly Ann Margl is the author of a powerful book. It is called Witnessing Grief, a crucial guide for coaches and helping professionals navigating the sensitive terrain of grief, loss, trauma as well. It's a very, very relevant book. All of us have gone through grief and trauma, I think, during these past 4 years since COVID struck. Unfortunately, in all of our lives, tragedy will strike when you least expect it, or even if you're expecting it. And you're going to need someone to turn to. This is a great book that might help you find a professional that you would work well with to help you navigate your thoughts and feelings if you're going through a hard time right now. And the Enneagram approach that she uses seems just marvelous. In fact, I'm going to even do more research on it after this program. Holly, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.